hello. Tell us how you're doing and tell us where you're from. We love to know that. So we are live on both Facebook and YouTube. So hello everybody. I'm so glad you're here with us. So I need to know, can you hear me? Victoria, have you got me in your ears? You can hear me. Okay, she's telling me she can hear me. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to drop that in the comments below, because Victoria can read those to me as I am working. So I want to tell you, we got in some of the most beautiful peonies. So we don't get them very often, just because they're a pricey flower, so I don't get them very often. But Budsy sent me a menu of all of the different flowers they had, and they had, this is called Miss America. So we're doing a party this week, and we are going to use all white flowers, and I thought, oh, peonies would be fabulous. She had them for a pretty good price, so I said, just send them to me. We will use them. So I thought we would use them today in just an all peony arrangement. The container that we're working with this is actually just a small flower pot. I want to say, I think I got it on clearance at Lowe's one year. And so it does have a little stopper in the bottom that I have taped over. I don't know if you can see that on the bottom. And instead of using fresh floral foam, I have made just kind of an armature of chicken wire. So when I tell you I've made an armature, all I did was wad it up, and I am sticking it down into this container. Now before I add water, I am going to tape this chicken wire down into the container, okay? So I'm just pressing that wire right down in there. So that's what it looks like. Very simple. You're just going to press it down in there. Now the reason I'm using chicken wire is because it's going to give me a grid. It's going to hold those flowers in place when I stick them in. And so that's the reason I'm using chicken wire as my armature. I'm taking just a little bit of clear tape. So this is just clear floral. It's supposed to be waterproof. It's not really waterproof, and I'm going to tape across this container to hold that chicken wire into place. So I'm just taking it. The wonderful part about using this clear tape is you don't really see it too much on your container. You can see it a little bit, but it's not too bad. Okay, so I have taped it into place, so my chicken wire isn't going to go anywhere. So if my flowers start pulling, if they're heavy, it's not going to pull my chicken wire out. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour some fresh water into my container. There we go. So I just added fresh water right down into my container, and now we are going to use our peonies. Miss Victoria, anybody talking to us? Are we good over there?
You have a lot of hellos.
Great! Hello, friends. So glad you're here.
Several people are saying it's really hot where they are.
It is warm. I went out, actually I had to go and hang a mailbox cover for a client, and it was really, here in Mississippi we're so humid, and so I agree, it was almost smothery outside. Okay, so let's talk about peonies, and let's talk about where they come from. So they are originally from Asia. They come mostly from China and Japan, and I told you one other place. Mongolia. I was like, I said one other place. Victoria, do you remember? I had to do some research because I didn't know. These are perennials. So a perennial means they come back every year. And if the plants are very well taken care of and they're in more of a cool environment, those plants will last for decades if they're well taken care of. Now, peonies come in lots of colors, and you've seen me, if you've watched my videos at all, you have seen me work with some of the different colors. This is supposed to be, they called it a white, and I don't know if you noticed, see how white this bloom is, but when they're tight, they're a soft pink. So as they open up, they get much whiter. It's very interesting. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking these blooms, I'm cutting that stem at an angle, and I am just tucking them right into that armature. Now, peonies are most often used in wedding work. They're what we would call a fancy flower here at our shop. They're just such a pretty, very fancy, elegant, delicate flower. Taking my stems, and really all I'm doing is I am using this one bloom to make an arrangement all the way around.
Colleen Vargas says, hi friend, met you at Refab.
Hello. Good to hear from you. I'm so glad you're here with us, Colleen. But look at that bloom, how open it is. It is so pretty. So all I'm doing, guys, so I really started, I'm just kind of giving us some length here. I'll move this so you can kind of see. But I am really just going to fill this container with these blooms. So where you start does not necessarily matter. I am just going to fill up the container with the blooms. I'm leaving some stems long, and then I'm going to tuck some stems short. But I'm using all different stems, and I am leaving a little bit of my foliage on my stems, and that's completely okay. Now, there are your stems often come in different stages, and so what I mean by that is bud stage. So this is a bud, and very often they come in and they look like a little golf ball. Now, the way to get this bloom to open up, there's lots of different ways, but the way to get this bloom to open up, and this one actually is starting to decay, but we're going to go with it and explain how to open it up. To open the bloom, you're going to take all of the foliage off, okay? You're going to cut that stem at an angle. This one probably got too wet, but you can see where it got wet here, and so it started to mold. But you're going to pull all that foliage off, you're going to cut that stem at an angle, and you're going to put it in warm water. Leave it off the cooler, and it'll slowly start to open. Now, I watched a video the other day, and it tickled me to death because I thought there would be no way I would ever think to do this. But she said when they come in a really, really tight stage, you're going to take it and you're going to hit that bud on the table. And what you're doing is you're cracking it and getting it to open up, which made me panic a little bit, but sure enough, that bud opened right up. Now, there are times when if you need them to open up, you can plunge them down in water and softly open those stems. But there's lots of different ways to get these blooms to open for you. And if you don't need them right away, you can actually put them in the cooler and leave those in the cooler. Put them in the different stages so that they will slowly open in different stages.
Debbie asks, how come you are not greening it first?
Well, because I didn't want to use a lot of foliage, quite honestly. I wanted to use more blooms and less foliage. So I am going to add our foliage at the end, but I was really going for more of a romantic look where it was just lots and lots of blooms and little foliage. Now, you can absolutely green it in first. I just didn't want, I tend to overdo it. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I tend to overdo it when it comes to adding greenery. And so, the reason I chose not to add the greenery first was because I wanted it to be real floral, and then we would add the greenery last.
Our beautiful little journey on YouTube says, hi, watching from South Carolina, just found your channel and I love watching your videos.
Wow, thank you so much for being here. Welcome, welcome. So I'm just taking my floral knife and I am just cutting my stems at an angle. Wow, these are amazing, y'all. They are amazing. And you're going to see they kind of wiggle a little bit, but that's completely okay.
Miss Jill asks, how long will this arrangement last?
So, peonies are not the longest lasting bloom. And honestly, I'm just doing this for fun. I'm doing this for you. I'm going to pull it apart and we will actually use it in a dinner party. We will use these particular blooms for a dinner party. They will last several days. I would say 3 or 4 days, as long as they have plenty of water. But y'all look at them. They're like a picture, aren't they, Victoria? I mean, like, that's amazing.
Miss Rona says hello.
Hey there. Hello, hello. Thank you for being here. So I'm just working them slowly right into that chicken wire armature. And I'm leaving some longer and I'm cutting some shorter just so that we have height.
Miss Sheila says they don't look real. They're beautiful.
They don't look real, do they? They do not. They're amazing. And you know, it's so seldom that you really get to work with something so beautiful. I mean, I work with lots of beautiful things, don't get me wrong. And I think all flowers are beautiful in their own way, but I don't know if there is one quite as lovely as a peony. So we've worked with some fantastic stuff this week, Victoria. With the ginger yesterday and with the peonies today. They are amazing. And you see how simple this is. I mean, I do realize that these are peonies and peonies aren't simple, but how easy it is to make a fantastic arrangement with one type of bloom. I don't know if you've watched, I think Owen posted a video today of me working with that ginger, that beehive ginger, and I used those stems and I just made a simple arrangement using those stems, and then I added foliage. And so it was basically the exact same as this peony arrangement, except I was working with ginger. And so it makes such a statement just using a single variety of flowers.
Heather Reeves says, I can understand why you don't want to use too much greenery. They're beautiful.
Yes, aren't they amazing? And you know, I get carried away. I really do. I get carried away with foliage. And so I didn't want the foliage to take away from the flowers.
Rhoda says, I've missed y'all. I missed what you're designing this for.
I am just making a beautiful arrangement. So we got in these peonies for a dinner party this week, and I wanted to make just a fantastic arrangement just of all peonies. And so I'm just using these. These will be used for the dinner party, but I just thought it would be fun to make an arrangement with all of the same types of flowers. And they were just too fantastic not to use.
Pam Ellis says, I love watching your videos and couldn't see the one Friday when you did the arrangement on the door for the wedding. Will you be
know,
reposting?
it hurts my feelings so bad. I'm not sure if that video will come back up. It was very strange. It stayed as a live for like all night long. So when I came back to see if it would come back up, it still has not come back up. So I am not sure, but I promise I will do that same type of video again. I do have other arbors that'll have to be made, so I'll do that same type of video again. So guys, you can see how I have just taken these peonies. I'm gonna take this one and make him a little shorter. And I have just clustered them into this arrangement.
Miss Linda says, my favorite flower, I have been cutting mine every couple of days. They don't last long.
They don't last long. They last longer on the bush or on the plant than they do cut, but they are so amazing. Such amazing flowers. Okay, so I'm going to come in with a few buds, and I'm going to show you the difference in the stages of the flowers opening. So you can see here, these are the more of a bud state. And very often when you get them in, we have gotten them in so tight that honestly they look like little golf balls. They are hard little knots. And it's amazing that something that's such a hard little knot, and that one's starting to open, will open, and that's it's starting to open, and then here's one that's fully opened. And so it's amazing that something so tight and so tiny can open up to be such a large and delicate flower. But it's almost a painting, isn't it? I mean, they're just amazing flowers. And they smell very lovely. They have a really pretty soft scent. And it's funny how, look how white this is when they come out. So when they first arrived, they were so very pale pink. And I called Donna and I said, "Oh, Donna, these are pink." She said, "I promise, let them open and they'll get white." And sure enough, they did. This variety is called Miss America. And so, yeah, they're amazing. Okay, next what we're going to do is we are going to add some eucalyptus to this arrangement. So I have several varieties of well, a couple of varieties. I have a gun-eye euc, which is pretty, and then we have a small silver dollar eucalyptus. And so what I thought we would do is just add just a touch of foliage. We're not going to get carried away like I can so often do.
So Miss Rebecca and Allison and Miss Marianne all say that the lives, anyone that posted a live on Friday, were having problems. So it was
so it's everybody.
Yeah, it was like
me.
across Facebook where they were having
strange.
issues.
And that was a good one. It's always one of my favorite. I was thinking, ooh, they're going to love this one. So I hate that happened. So I'm just going to take my eucalyptus and I'm going to cut it in small pieces. And we're just really going to go around in this arrangement and kind of wring it out. I'm not going to put too much, just a very soft amount. And I said soft, but a small amount.
Dolores says they look like a Miss America presentation.
They are something, aren't they? One guy wants to lean. Sit up there, silly.
Miss Rona says they are beautiful. Love the yellow in the center.
Oh, isn't that yellow wonderful?
Miss Mary Lou says, beautiful, Monty. They are amazing flowers, just as you are an amazing person.
Oh, thank you, sweet lady. Thank you. So I am very delicately just going to add just a touch of the eucalyptus to the arrangement. We're just going to fill in some of the empty spots.
I missed this from earlier, but Heather says every time my peonies are in flower, we get rain and they don't seem to open.
That's right. And the problem is their heads get too wet, and so they don't want to. They don't want to stand up. They don't want to act right. We don't really grow them here in Mississippi. Now there may be some people who can. It's hot in Mississippi, and so we have a hard time keeping them in bloom. I can remember as a little girl, way before I knew I was going to be a florist, my mama had a peony that grew in the yard. And like you said, every single time there was a bud there and it was going to open, it would rain and it would beat it down. And so it would hurt Mama's feelings every time.
Sally Ray says, almost look like big camellias.
Yes, they do have that yellow in the center like a camellia. They do have that.
Becky Dunlap says, wow, God did some of his best work on these blooms.
Ooh, didn't he? Didn't he? Didn't he? I tell you, when you see such beauty like this, you can't imagine not knowing there was a God when there's something so amazing as this, right?
Kristen Weaver says Wyatt loves this. He says those big flowers are so pretty.
Oh, sweet boy. Y'all need to come visit me.
Miss Deborah says this arrangement looks like a Renaissance painting.
Oh, it really does. I agree. And this soft color is so pretty. Okay, so I have a little hole here, so I'm going to take another bloom.
Liliana asks, how long will those flowers last?
About 3 or 4 days. So they're not very long lasting, and they're fairly pricey.
Rebecca says, we had problems growing them in central Alabama. They never bloomed, just a pretty plant.
Just a pretty plant, and that's no fun. That's no fun just to have a pretty plant. Yeah, Alabama and Mississippi are really close in our climates, aren't we?
Miss Carol asks, what would this arrangement sell for?
I have no idea, Carol. So each stem, we have to do some math on figuring out the stems. I want to say, actually give me 2 seconds. Let me get my calculator and I'll tell you per stem the cost. The retail price on them. Let's see. Okay, so they are $7 a stem. And I have no clue how many stems I put in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Probably about 30 stems. So just in flowers alone, no greenery, we're looking at $210 worth of flowers. So that's why we don't carry them very often. That's why we don't carry them very often.
Kristen says, we sure do. It's been too long since we've been out and about. LOL.
I know. I have to see my stinky boy. Okay, so there is some silver dollar euc. I'm going to add a little bit of this other variety of eucalyptus just because it's pretty.
Carol says pricey but beautiful.
Yes, they are so pretty.
Miss Marianne asks, will you keep these in this design until you redesign for the dinner party?
It really depends. If I add some water, I will put them in the cooler. You know, these blooms are really open, so they will go in the cooler so that I can prolong their life. So I could keep it in this container and just make sure there's plenty of water in there, and it wouldn't hurt it at all. You know, the thing is that when you make arrangements and you put them in a container like this, they're fine because they've got water. It's just as if I didn't arrange them in the bucket. You know, I've got a bucket full right here, and they last just as well in the bucket or in a container as long as they've got plenty of water. Wow, this is amazing. Isn't it pretty?
Dolores says the silver dollar eucalyptus accents this arrangement so well.
And you see, it's just really soft. It's not overdone.
Liliana asks, can you use those flowers in an arrangement with floral foam?
Yes, you absolutely can. But I just thought it would be best if I was going to just do an example for you. Every flower, to be quite honest, all flowers are happier in direct water. And so, because I'm planning on using them for a dinner party, I did not want to clog their anything like that. So anytime you're ever working with flowers, just know that flowers are going to last longer in direct fresh water than they are in any type of foam. And it's just strictly because they have a better water source. They're just happier with fresh water versus foam.
Allison says, such a shame they don't last longer than they do.
I agree, Allison.
Winona Banks says, my mother had several. She called them piney bushes. Beautiful no matter what you call them, and the fragrance is amazing too.
Isn't it? I was telling Victoria, I said, isn't it funny how we all say something different? Peony, peony. Mm-hmm. They're all, It doesn't matter. You're right. It doesn't matter what you call them. All right. I just about got it. Ooh, that is pretty. Now that is just like you said, it's a painting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Ann Coburn asks, is this arrangement for anybody or are you keeping it, Monty? It is absolutely amazing.
I am going to reuse the blooms. So I just wanted to make a beautiful all peony arrangement for you guys on the video. I will add water to this arrangement and put it in the cooler, and then we will reuse all of these blooms for a dinner party. But yes, I will reuse them. I may take a few home just to enjoy a few stems at home, but I cannot personally afford this many beautiful flowers at my house, but they are amazing. It is so pretty.
Gaetana says, hello everyone, just able to join the live and was wowed by this arrangement. I need that in my life. Thank
right,
you,
Gaetana, right.
Thank you,
yes.
Bonnie and Victoria. I cannot imagine anyone not jumping for joy when they receive this beauty.
Oh, can you imagine receiving something this amazing? I would be amazed.
Kristen says, I love all the dimensions that these blooms have. So much interest for the eyes.
Isn't it neat though? You can see the different, and see how white this one is. This is just a more open bloom versus the blush of this more of a bud. It's so neat how they open right up and they're just as white as can be once they open. Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Rona says, just beautiful. I can see orange roses and or orange mums mixed in.
Oh, it'd be so lovely.
Liliana asks, are you adding any other type of flower?
Nope. I'm just going to, now for the dinner party, yes. The dinner party is only going to have 1 or 2 blooms, and then it's going to be all white blooms. So we've got white hydrangeas and white roses, and I'm going to do a trick with some carnations to make them look like Lysianthus. So I will show you that trick this week. But lots of white blooms will go for the dinner party, and then some pretty foliage. But very little. She really wanted more just blooms and very little foliage.
Linda Juster says, so beautiful, but the arrangement you made with the ginger yesterday was gorgeous too. Very unique and different.
Isn't it neat though, at how all of the different blooms do different things? It's very different, isn't it? This is a much different arrangement than yesterday. But they are both so beautiful. So it's amazing at how beautiful they can be, yet so different.
Kristen says, I thought they were 2 different color flowers. That's so pretty.
Yes, so they're all the exact same variety, and the variety is called Miss America. And when I ordered them as white peonies, and so when they came in, they were very blush, such a lovely blush color, but they weren't going to work for a white dinner party. And Donna said, give it just a little time, let them open completely up and they will turn white. And sure enough, look how white that bloom is. It's amazing.
Lisa says, beautiful colors and pretty shirt. The color looks good on you.
Thank you so much.
Miss Marianne asks, were the ginger blooms from yesterday more expensive than these peonies?
No, they were roughly about the same price. Now this is a very this was a very good priced peony. So they come in their prices. They're pricey. I mean, their cost is pretty high. It depends on the bloom. It depends on the variety. But yes, they were actually, the ginger and the peonies are roughly about the same in cost per stem.
Yeah, they're saying it's beautiful, beautiful.
Well, thanks, guys. Thank you. Did that one come up?
Yep.
All right. Well, I am going to take this. Oh,
sorry.
You got another question?
One more question.
Yes,
Liliana asks, how long does it take for them to open up?
It depends on how tight they come. So if they come in here and they're as tight as a golf ball, It may take days to open. Honestly, these were all pretty popped. They were all starting to open. So we have cut them and kept them in a bucket and kept them in the cooler. I do need them to get white for this dinner party, and the dinner party is on Thursday. So I may leave them out overnight because I really do need them to whiten up. And so what that really means is the guard petals, which are the blush, these guard petals are going to open up and they'll be on the bottom of the bloom. So you can see how white this bloom is here and how white this bloom, and even this one, look how white. So as they open up completely, they get much more white. I really, really need them to be white for this party. And so I may leave them out overnight just so that I have more white blooms, because quite honestly, I can't use the blush. So they really need to open for me. So I may leave them out overnight. We will start on the dinner party tomorrow. And so I will show you some of those pictures of that dinner party and the centerpieces that we make tomorrow. All right, guys, I'm going to take this beauty outside and I will take its picture so that you can see it up close and personal. Guys, thank you so much for always being here, for supporting our little flower shop, and for cheering us on. We so appreciate you. If you have any kind of ideas that you want to see us do, don't hesitate to drop that in the comments below. We love ideas. Now, I can't always promise I can fulfill those ideas, but we sure love to hear them, so that if I can do it, I'll be happy to. I hope you have a wonderful evening, guys, and we will see you all